Okay, so this is a real? Okay, I didn't know if you were still messing around with it. Hey guys, this is Daniel.
And Matthew.
And we are
That Damn Brand. Here we are once again in person because
Yep.
Daniel came in from Houston for the Twitch San Antonio meetup.
That's not in San Antonio.
Which happens to be taking place in Live Oak this time for some unexplained reason, but
I'm going to find out why and get back to you guys.
we will inquire. Inquiring minds want to know, and we will find out for you guys. Anyway, so we might go into more detail on that in a little while later, but we wanted to talk about first was actually a little bit PC intensive, PC gaming intensive, talking about...
Oh, the RTX?
Yeah, huh?
Okay.
Yeah, the RTX, the Verge PC thing,
Okay, yeah,
Zen,
like which one?
Zen2. We have a couple of topics, and so but like the first percentage of this podcast is going to be dedicated to PC gaming. So if you're not a PC gamer, still stick around because it's probably going to be interesting regardless.
Yes, there is news on a rumor of the PS4, which is related to which is related to PC gaming, which is why you want to stick around.
Yeah. So, but we'll start with the Nvidia RTX cards. They just launched today, I believe, like consumers.
The 20th. So
Yesterday. So yeah, we're recording this on the 21st, but anyway, so they came out the 20th of September, 2018. And, you know, some of the enthusiasts like Linus Tech Tips and Jay's 2 Cents and all that, some of the bigger YouTubers and tech reviewers got them a little bit early so that they could have benchmark videos out and that sort of thing. But they finally are in the hands of consumers for the most part. And so we wanted to discuss them a little bit at length, I think, and go ahead and lead the way.
Okay, so the two that came out right now are the 2080 and the 2080 Ti. The cheapest 2080 that we saw was $750. We actually didn't look for the cheapest 2080 Ti, but I believe they were around $1,200. In terms of power, the 2080 is pretty much identical to the 1080 Ti, which what came out 2 years ago. The 2080 Ti is 30% more powerful than the 1080 Ti. Neither of them are seen as replacements for the current generation, more supplemental to the current generation, which means that they're going to continue selling the current gen. Well, I don't know if it's because they want to, or if it's because they have a big back stock of them. I'm going to guess it's the stock. But I think because they've acknowledged that before that, they're not going to lower the prices, but one can hope still.
Yeah, I mean, if the price on the 1080 Ti drops a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade. But if it doesn't, then I'm just gonna wait.
Yeah, and I think, along with them probably not being ready, but the fact that the 2060 isn't gonna come out till next year is probably because they don't want to cannibalize their sales. That's my thought.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they could get people that would otherwise, otherwise get the 2080. Well, they would get the 2060 if it were available, but instead they might be more inclined to spend money on the 2080 just because it's out.
The 2060 doesn't have ray tracing, so in terms of power, I guess you'd only be looking at it as frames, so it would be still.
So yeah, okay, well, go ahead.
Well, the 720 has ray tracing. That's not out yet, but not the 720. The 2070. All these stupid numbers.
Right.
The 2070 will have 8 ray tracing. The 2060 will not. That's the 60 of the generation is normally around $200, which is what most gamers spend on a graphics card, or where most graphics cards are sold at. So that's the mainstream card, for lack of a better term. The 70s and the 80s are more enthusiast cards. So even though these are coming out, the sales are probably not going to be super great because that's not where the bulk of the people buy their cards at. It's the not lower end, but
lower tier,
the mid range.
Yeah.
Lower mid.
Right.
So maybe they just have so many of the 1060s that they want to get rid of those before they bring out the new stuff.
So, yeah, getting back into ray tracing that you mentioned, I was not aware of this, but Daniel brought this to my attention. Apparently, So the thing with the RTX and ray tracing is that it's supposed to be like this huge deal. We discussed it a little bit in our last episode with the Battlefield 5 demo and the Captain Phasma from Star Wars demo and all that sort of stuff. But basically, ray tracing is the feature that's supposedly going to push gaming into like the next, level or whatever. Okay, disagree with me.
It's not the next level, but it's a level of detail.
The next level of detail. Let's go with that then. That's what I was trying to get to. Yeah. So anyway, the next level of detail. But the issue with ray tracing is that first of all, since it's brand new, not that many games support it. There's only one game right now that technically supports it, and by technically I mean that it's going to support it, but as of like right this second does not support it, and that's Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Mm-hmm.
And ray tracing will be added later in the patch to the game,
Mm-hmm.
and then Battlefield 5, which was supposed to come out in October, which now got delayed to November so that it doesn't coincide with Call of Duty and something else.
The Rockstar game.
Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah. That got delayed. That was also going to feature ray tracing, Battlefield 5. And to be honest, I can't really name that many more off the top of my head.
I don't know anymore, to be honest.
Yeah, I saw a list somewhere I think it had about 10, but...
Yeah, there's not very many. It's like 10 or 12 throughout the next year.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't know them.
Yeah. So the point I'm making basically is that, ray tracing is supposed to be like this huge deal with like this huge feature of these cards, and there aren't many games that support it, and also it's going to have to be patched in later, as in Shadow of Tomb Raider. But also the thing I was talking about, how I was not aware of it at all until this guy brought it to my attention, was that there's actually going to be a Windows update that allows ray tracing to occur, I guess.
Through DirectX, yeah. Ray tracing requires DirectX, and the DirectX hasn't been updated to even support ray tracing yet, and that happens next month. So even if there was a game that would support ray tracing right now, I guess we're talking hypotheticals now because there's not.
Mm-hmm.
But even if there was, you wouldn't be able to play ray tracing or play in ray tracing RTX mode, or the fuck they call it, because Windows does not support ray tracing as we speak.
So here's a question that I kind of just thought off the top of my head. Do other OSs support ray tracing, or is it just that new that nothing supports it, like Linux or Unix or any kind of other?
Can you game off those?
You can game on Linux.
Yeah, but is it only certain games?
I don't know.
Don't you like?
I don't know really anything
Don't you
about
like
it.
do boot camp for Windows? Don't you boot Windows through Linux?
Maybe like a virtual machine. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, it was just off the top of my head. I didn't plan this out. Like normally we have some things we discussed, planned out, and that was just top of my head. But anyway.
I'm guessing it's gonna be a Windows exclusive thing then.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, no ray tracing until October at the earliest, I guess, because Windows update, and then hopefully Shadow of the Tomb Raider will have actually patched it in by then.
Yeah, and I guess we want to discuss the different tiers, or the 2080s, and if they're worth purchasing in our opinion. I don't know. I think I know your opinion. I don't know really my opinion yet. I have So you want to start with the max one or the little one?
Sure.
The max one. Okay. I don't know. It's a lot of fucking money. It's $1,200, and I guess that's a Titan. And people bought Titans. They would sell out, so it's not like there's not a market for it.
Right.
And it apparently in benchmarks, it's pulling like 100 frames or roughly 100 frames in 4K on Battlefield with ultra settings. So I think it's the first true 4K. That's what I meant, 100 frames in 4K. I don't know if I said 4K.
You did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think it's the first true 4K card. So if you're gaming in 4K, and if you're gaming in 4K, you probably have spent a shitload of money anyway. It may be worth it for you, but if you're not gaming in 4K, and I don't know many people who are, I don't see the reason to spend that much money. My 1080 Ti, I'm playing 2K ultra wide, and I play ultra settings and everything. My 1080 is fine. I get around 100 frames average or more per game. I normally cap it down to 100 because that's all my monitor can do.
Right.
So I can't really recommend that card unless you're really a big 4K enthusiast.
Like if you have the hardware that can support it, the monitors and that kind of sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah, like if you already have everything, that's a better thing way to put it. Like, let's say you had the 20 or the 1080 from the previous generation, and you were disappointed with 4K, and you really want to play 4K, and that's like your goal. I understand that because I'm like that with the things that I want to do. So that's when I can say, okay, go for it, because that's your passion, that's what you want to do. But if you're gonna play like 1080p or 2K, don't do it.
Yeah. That's that price, man. That's just crazy. Like I mean, you might have seen the same videos that I did, but I've been watching benchmark videos on YouTube and stuff, like Jay's 2 cents, and I think a little bit of Linus Tech
Yeah,
Tips.
value-wise, it's not a good card at all. Like in terms of price per dollar or performance per dollar, and that's why I'm not bringing it up from a price standpoint. I'm saying if this is what you want to do, this is the card that can do it.
Okay.
And that's your only option.
So do you want? Yeah.
So it's either do it, it's either get this or not. From a price standpoint, it's fucking awful. So that's all I'm saying there. It's not like go out buy it. It's like this is what you want to do. You can finally do it.
Right. So yeah, what I was gonna say was kind of like what we discussed via text.
Yeah.
It's like a 30% graphical improvement for a 70% price increase
From the previous generation.
Yeah, but still, like you have to think if you can justify that. If you're an enthusiast, you have the tech, the pre-existing tech or whatever, the monitors and everything that can support it, and you want to do it, and you have the money, then fucking go for it. But if you're somebody like me who doesn't have the greatest of tech but still likes playing games that look nice and stuff, like I mean that's kind of fucking steep.
That's really stupid.
So yeah, it's gonna be a tough mountain for me to climb.
You can build a whole PC for that.
Yeah,
a really good PC.
And we have a video on that. It's probably gonna be up here in the eye above our heads now.
Yeah, if you want it for that price, you could build 2 of the PCs that I fucking designed for you guys.
Yeah, so if you decide that you're like, maybe I want one of these cards, think about getting 2 actual PCs first, and then the PCs that he built are for gaming and streaming, but if you build 2 of them, you can have one dedicated to streaming and one dedicated to gaming.
I was actually I guess a side note, I actually was curious on my own capabilities on putting together a PC, so I'm going to try to build the cheapest functional gaming PC that I can.
Well, I think I saw a video, it might have been by Jay or maybe Linus, like $300.
I think that's possible.
So, yeah.
With an APU and a...
You just have to, just have to look into it. But yeah, so that might be coming soon on our YouTube page. There might be a $300 PC build, gaming PC build. So potentially keep an eye out for that. But so that was the highest end graphics, RTX graphics card. So talk about, I guess, the next tier. The next tier
is the 2080, which I hate how they're numbered the same and it just has TI or whatever. Just name it the 2090 or whatever at this point. So the 2080, no TI, its performance is pretty much the same as a 1080 Ti from the previous generation. So for someone like me who has one of those cards, there's no point in me upgrading because it's the same, and for the higher up one, throwing down $1,200 for 30% is kind of a lot. I guess when I said that before, maybe, I don't know, I wasn't thinking if someone owned like a 1080 Ti, I was thinking more of a 1080. I didn't say Ti, did I? I said 1080? Correct. Okay,
maybe,
well, yeah.
Maybe.
I hate how everything's fucking the same number. We're talking about 4 different cards and there's like 2 numbers.
Right.
Anywho, so it's identical performance with the best card from the last generation. So if you already have one, don't upgrade fuck the ray tracing. But if you don't have one, and you were looking to get a 1080 Ti before this came out, the difference is only $100. So it's how much is ray tracing important to you? Personally, I would like ray tracing, and from my understanding is, the way the tech works is you have ray trace, like there's certain part of the chip of the GPU, because it's a bigger chip altogether, that has cores that just do the ray tracing. So when you turn off the ray tracing, you turn off those cores. So in theory, you're not supposed to be able, like, it's not going to take up extra power because those cores are
dedicated to
it. It's just, again, as we said before, how many games are going to do it. but only for $100 extra, it might be worth it if that's your thing. It would be my thing. I think I would take the chance on it, but $100 is a lot to some people.
So I don't know if you actually mentioned the $100 thing, like in terms of what it is. So like we were looking on Newegg and Best Buy, Amazon, that sort of thing, and we kind of course, the prices are going to vary based on the manufacturer and how much gig of RAM it is or whatever. But essentially, there's $100 price difference between the 1080 Ti and the 2080 base. Correct?
Yeah, we found the cheapest 2080 and the cheapest 1080 Ti, and that was our baseline. So it's $100 difference entry fee to get into the playground, and then if you want a better 1080 or 2080, whatever, obviously it's going to go up.
Yeah, so it's whether or not you need to justify spending that extra $100 to get into the ray tracing game, if you will. We've discussed previously about future-proofing our builds, like we switched to AMD Ryzen chips and stuff because the new AMD 2 or Zen2 architecture is coming out, and so we're future-proofing it. So if you want to look at it from that view, you could kind of think of the RTX cards as sort of future-proofing, because while there may not be a lot of games that support it now, I mean, I feel like they're banking on it becoming the future, whereas, it's going to be like a standard feature, kind of like how 1080 Ti, or not 1080 Ti, whatever, HD is kind of like the standard these days. If you can't game in HD, it's kind of like, why even game, really?
I disagree with that comment on future-proofing, because future-proofing would insinuate that, like, the card doesn't work anymore. The cards are at similar powers, it's just a certain feature turns on and off. So by theory, when both of the cards are actually going to become irrelevant at the same time. It's just one's going to have be a shinier irrelevant card.
Listen, how much of your life do you want to go without living with ray tracing?
So honestly, if I didn't have a 2080 Ti, I would probably pick up a 2080 because it's only $100 difference. And that little shiny thing, I like graphics. I like that kind of stuff, so that justifies it for me. I can't support a 2080 Ti, but in terms of how much the cost is and what we already have in the market, I don't think that's that big of a price difference for a feature like that.
So here's a proposition for you. I give you $100, you buy the 2080, and then give me your 1080 Ti.
Well, see,
I know.
I'm like, now I'm losing $650, not $100.
Yeah, I know. It was a joke, but
okay.
Yeah. We're having fun. Go ahead.
I guess it depends on how much you value it, because now that I think about it, $100 is a lot for lights going off a car. It's what do you want? I like immersive things. That's why I was one of the first to jump into VR. I bought it pretty early compared to most people. I have a 2K ultra wide curved screen for the immersion value. That monitor itself was fucking expensive, but that's what I do. I like that kind of stuff. So it's I don't want to shill for Nvidia, but I do think they're in the right direction. I think their implementation was awful, but as I was telling Matt, in a few years down the road, I think this stuff is going to be good, and it's going to be probably affordable.
Right. Just rest assured that if Daniel or myself decide to jump into the RTX pond, if you will, we will probably do an unboxing video just because it's RTX, all nice and shiny. You probably have like a million other versions out there of the same unboxing, but you gotta have that damn brand out there.
And see if it gets that damn approval.
Yes.
Whatever we call it.
That damn ray tracing. Anyway, so I think we're done with RTX cards now, right? Or is there one more? Like there's only the two.
Well, there's the 720. I mean, not the 720. I'm sorry, the 2070.
Jesus.
But it has not been released yet.
Okay, and then the 2060 is coming later also.
Well, all the cards below that, because there is going to be the 2050 too, and all the other ones, but only the 2070 and above are ray traced. Or ray tracing, or whatever the fuck they call it. So, RTX.
So the other one shouldn't even be called RTX.
I agree with you, but I think they're going to keep the nomenclature.
Well, yeah, because that's kind of like how they roll, but...
Because RTX is supposed to be the
Yeah, so the new
Well,
GTX,
lights.
the new GTX. But yeah.
Right.
Anyway.
Anyway, enough boring you guys with that.
Yeah, we could probably talk about graphics cards for an entire episode if we wanted to.
Definitely could.
So we'll move on to the Verge PC Building guide video. I know you actually brought that to my attention, so I'll let you introduce that.
I actually didn't know about it before I got taken off. I just saw like on my YouTube feed, since I do watch a lot of tech videos, 'cause I like that kind of stuff. There was a bunch of people talking about this Verge video, and I didn't watch any of them at first, but I just noticed like person after person after person after person had a video about the Verge video. So I tried to find it. I couldn't find it, but then I found it on some dude that I didn't even know. Like, but it was him reacting to it. So, but he had the video up, so that's what was important. And it was crazy to me on how, and that's probably what everyone else is gonna say too, because this has been beaten to death. But this was a how-to guide with no how-to in it. I guess no correct how-to. Like, it told you how to fuck up, but it was insane because a bunch of mistakes that the guy made were not like, I would have to go out of my way to make these fucking mistakes, first off. And
I think the guy that we watched before we started recording, I think he said it best, something like he may have built stuff in before, but the script he was going off of, whoever wrote that knew nothing about it, and so he was just going off the script and just kind of doing it like, I'm on camera, oh shit, I just gotta follow the script, instead of just stopping to be like, that's wrong, I'm just gonna say what's correct and do it this way, even though but when you have a manager or producer or something trying to tell you like stick to this, it's gonna be difficult. But I'm not letting him off the hook because there's a shit ton of errors in this video. It's crazy.
Yeah, and there's some errors in it where, like, it's not just if you do it, oh, it's not going to work. It's like, if you do this, it will fuck your shit up. And he's boosting a $2,000 computer. So if someone went out and bought, like, the parts that he was trying to get you to buy, because I'm pretty sure they have an affiliate link and they make money off it, so they're trying to push those parts. If someone went to go buy them and then, like, did what he did, they could bake their shit. Well, they could bake and break, but yeah, because the power supply would beat the fucking thing up.
Oh god. Okay, so we'll try and cover all of them, but we didn't actually make a list, so it's just gonna.
There's too many. Like,
like basically, if you go into YouTube and type in the Verge PC Building Guide, you won't find the original video because basically it was so cringeworthy and so bad that it got like a shit ton of down thumbs or whatever, and a shitload of negative comments. That first they disabled the comments and the thumbs up, thumbs down, and then they just fucking deleted the video entirely. And then the guy,
the article's still up though. I checked yesterday.
Oh really?
Yeah, but it says at the top, it says it was edited. So I think it's just like a how to build it now. It's not really like the
actual video, and
yeah,
maybe they actually corrected the mistakes, but yeah, and then their manager or CEO or whoever it is of The Verge tweeted out something like that tech YouTubers aren't journalists.
Yeah.
Okay, that doesn't mean that they can't correct mistakes when you're wrong. Like,
well, that doesn't mean they're not journalists either. Like, them reporting on shit kind of makes them journalists just because they do it through a different medium. It's kind of like saying just because, like, news reporters aren't journalists because they're on TV,
right?
Rather than being on the internet, it's the same shit.
Right. But yeah, we're gonna try and cover some of the things that we found cringy in the video. But if you go on and just type in Verge PC Building video, you'll find everyone reacting to it, and you can watch for yourself. It's fucking bad.
I guess we could just say, to make it quick, we could say our top 3.
Okay, I'll go first because this is the one I mentioned to you, and then I followed it. I was like laughing so bad. So this guy is installing the PSU into the case. And he says basically, like, what you want to do is you want to line it up with the little rubber foot pads or whatever. I think that he called them foot pads or some kind of thing.
Which all cases don't have, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
My case doesn't have that, and I've seen. I don't think I've ever owned a case that has those.
He had a really badass case. Yeah. So.
But yeah, he's like, you want to line it up with these rubber foot pads so that your PSU doesn't short out. The PSU doesn't short and cause your system to malfunction or something like
doesn't
that.
short your system and fry your parts or whatever.
Basically, yeah, he's basically saying that the PSU, if it wasn't sitting on those nice rubber foot pads, it could ruin your fucking system. And then not even 2 minutes later, he goes, okay, now that it's on these foot pads, make sure it's pushed up nice against the case. So, like, what is it? Is it you want it to sit on the rubber or you want it to be pushed up against the case? Because you didn't want it to touch the case on the bottom, but you were fine with it touching the back of the case. Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Okay, my number one was the thermal paste. So he has an all-in-one liquid cooler, so he has liquid cooling in the system. And most liquid coolers, I know yours didn't, but mine did, come with pre-applied thermal paste. So, and it's nicely put. You can put it on, or you can remove it and put your own thermal paste. What he recommends to do is, and what he says is that the thermal paste on there is normally not enough, so you got to add more. No, the thermal paste on there is the perfect amount, so people don't do stupid shit like he just did. And the way he applies the thermal paste is stupid. The way most people apply it is they put I like the line, like just put the line across the chip, but a lot of people put the P. And the reason you do that is because when you put your block on it, it spreads it out, not allowing air in. He put it on the 4 different corners, so when he puts it down, it's going to have a lot of air pockets because it's going to cave in and go over. So it's a completely wrong way to apply the damn thermal paste. It's too much thermal paste, and he's mixing thermal paste, which you're not supposed to do. Thermal paste, in the perfect world, you would actually not want thermal paste because copper is a better conductor of heat. But there's imperfections in when you make shit, so it's there to fill in all the little microscopic holes that you don't have. So you don't want to like fucking do what he did, and that's just, I can go on about that. I'm just gonna say it's fucking stupid.
It is fucking stupid. It's mixing the thermal, like whenever we did yours, I'm pretty sure you used alcohol to get the old thermal paste off, right? To clean it up, make it nice. Yeah, so you want to do that so that you're not mixing old and new, or like pre-applied versus new thermal paste, whatever.
You don't want to mix the compounds
because I guess there are different kinds of thermal paste.
Yeah, they're different.
Yeah, so so he's gonna have air bubbles, different kinds of shit, and just it's bad.
Yeah, each one acts as an insulator, for lack of a better term, because the copper can conduct the most heat, and that's actually what you want touching. But like I said, thermal paste is just to fill in the imperfections of the copper. So you're adding thermal paste on thermal paste. Those are 2 levels that are less efficient than what you actually want touching it.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I'm gonna do the next issue was.
I'm an engineer, so I can nerd out about the physics too.
It's all good.
The thermal dynamics.
It's all good. By the way, if you find anything that we talk about interesting and you do want us to expound on it, please leave a comment below, and let us know. Because I mean, if someone really does think the stuff he's talking about is very interesting and you want to hear more about it, I'm sure he'd be glad to do a video talking about it. I mean, if you want to make him talk for 20 minutes about thermal paste, then he'll fucking do it, So
right, the thermal properties of thermal paste.
There you go. So it already has a title and everything. So just let us know if you want to see that. But anyway, so another issue with this Verge PC Building video that I had was the RAM.
That was my 3, so I'm glad you got that. I need to think of a new one.
Okay. So the RAM. So this guy, he had 2 sticks of RAM. Oh, so there's 2 things about the RAM, actually. This might be my next 2 together. So the first thing, he's like, yeah, this RAM is like 2260 gigahertz.
24.
Whatever.
24 something. Yeah.
Some kind of really shitty number, essentially. He was like, yeah, it's pretty fast. Like, it's really not that fast, actually. I mean, mine's 3200, whatever, and I think yours is 34 or something.
3466, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really not that fast for a gaming.
He actually had the lowest tier that's allowed on.
So so the lowest tier that his motherboard or architecture, whatever, supports, and he decided to say it's pretty fast. Like, no, that's wrong.
Yeah.
And then secondly, when he actually installed the RAM into the motherboard, there are 4 slots. If you have 4 sticks of RAM, it's fine. It's not an issue. But most people don't run 4 sticks of RAM. I mean, generally, most people do 1 or 2. And so he had two sticks. I want to say they're probably 8 gigs a piece because that's kind of the norm. And so the motherboard supports what's called dual channeling, which is you want to stick the RAM slots like alternating. So it's like 1, skip 1, 1, skip 1, like that. So it would be in like first and third slots or second and fourth, whatever. You'd have to look at your motherboard guide because each one tells you specifically like A1, A2, whatever, B1, B2. Nope, he just put them right next to each other, just straight up in the first two slots. So like, he's not even gonna enable dual channeling, which is
a no-no.
Yeah, well, and so dual channeling is good. You want dual channeling, and so he basically said fucks to that and didn't do it.
Dual channeling, for a very simple description, dual channeling speeds up the way your computer reads RAM because it has two pathways to the RAM. Well, if you put it on a single channel, it only has one pathway. That's why dual channeling is better.
So he fucked that up.
Yeah.
And for a gaming PC, which you want to have speed and performance, out the fucking window. So yeah, that was...
My other pet peeve was are you done on?
Yeah.
Okay. Was the radiator. So he had an all-in-one cooling radiator, and he's screwing it into the top, and he's talking about how long the screws are, and he's like, oh, they're just that long, and they're going to stick out. Don't worry about that. And he screws in the radiator to the thing. But first off, he says to get them tight, which if you get them tight, you can actually clamp your radiator and break it. Second thing was, the reason they're fucking long is because you need to add fans to the fucking radiator to blow through the air through the coils of the liquid. You know, that's how the heat is transferred into the air. It just doesn't fucking work with magic. You know, like, so... That pissed me off. I guess maybe that's the engineer in me too, because that's kind of what I do, HVAC.
Yeah.
And so was that 1 and 2 for you? Or,
yeah, the RAM was like 2 and 3 or
2
whatever.
and 3.
So
Okay,
yeah.
so then
if you have another one,
I already thought of the other one.
Okay.
This one wasn't that big of a deal. It's just him being smug. It wasn't actually in your video.
Okay.
So you might have not seen this. He got a i7. I think it was the 8770K. You know,
the fancy one.
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh, and I got the i7 8770K."
I did see that.
Like how it's some big shit. Like, bitch, I can go buy that for $300 right now. Like, this ain't no fucking special shit. Like, right? You know, and that's kind of, it was just very smug. Like, if it was like maybe the 2080 Ti, like, I'd be like, all right, that's cool. You know. $1,300 graphics card. It's like a fucking $300 chip. Calm your bitch ass down.
Well, and so the thing about that too is like, yeah, I have this really fancy chip, but I'm about to fuck up this computer build very bad, so it doesn't matter because fucking RAM's all fucked and
maybe.
Oh, and then
the 3B when he throws the.
Yeah, so get to that in a second, but I just remembered with the power supply, he fucking has the fan turned in. Like when he puts it in the thing, the case, the fucking fan is facing all of the components and shit. Like
the static wrist. Did you see that?
The rubber band?
How he had a static wristband or the anti-static wristband, but it's just a fucking regular wristband. It doesn't have like the
little wire that you connect to the case to be a ground.
Yeah, what a fucking jackass.
Yeah, and then he called the cable ties fucking tweezers.
And then he said the tools you need is a Swiss Army knife which may have the screwdriver you need. I'm like, no, fucker, just get a screwdriver.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like, it is worth it to go out of your way to try and find the original video. It is fucking bad. And even if you can't find the original, just find all of the different reaction videos. Maybe if you watch enough of them, you can kind of piece together the entire video.
Well, the reaction video that I watched, I wish I know who he was, because it was just some random dude that had almost no followers. Was just the whole thing at once, and him, like, it wasn't stop and start like
the one I showed you.
Yeah, so try to find one that's just the whole thing and ignore the guy commenting.
Well, yeah, and so, but getting back to the chip for a second, he was talking about using the little brace, or I don't know what the hell it's called.
It's a CPU installer.
It's like a CPU installer. Essentially, it's like a little. Is it metal or like plastic?
I've never seen one.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I was confused. But anyway, it's some sort of little square thing that's supposed to hold the CPU. Like, you know, you put the CPU in it and you can hold the little brace and it helps you install it. But as he's doing it, he fucking just throws it over his shoulder, just we don't need that or whatever. And then when he actually goes to install it, it's not there. It's off to the side.
He throws the cover.
Oh, because he threw the cover of the chip away.
Yeah.
But then when he actually puts in the chip, like, he's not using that tool. It's
Yeah.
all, you see it on the desk, like the overhead view, it's off to the side. He's not even fucking using it.
And most people don't actually get the tool, as I've never gotten one.
Right.
It's actually something that's not common. So to bring that up is kind of stupid, because the people who are doing this don't know what the fuck they're doing. So they probably don't have the fucking tool. But so the PC throwing the cover of the CPU, not a good thing, guys. And the reason behind that is if your board's fucked up in any way, which does happen.
DOA.
Yeah. They want you to send it back with the cover. So if you just fucking throw it all willy-nilly and lose it, then you're stuck with a DOA board.
Which, if you don't know, DOA stands for dead on arrival, meaning that you tried to do it, you didn't do anything to it, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah, so don't follow that throwing the lid advice unless you want to buy a new board if yours doesn't work.
If you want to spend $2,000 and fuck up your PC build, then yeah, follow his advice to the T. Do everything he said, and you'll fuck your shit up for sure.
I like how he said that the power supply he got was so that he can later upgrade to an RTX.
So he said, kind of like what we're talking about, like future proofing. He said he got the 850 watt power supplies that he wouldn't have to worry about upgrading in the future and still be able to run, like use RTX and play Battlefield and all this kind of shit.
Yeah, that's not something you know where.
The guy, yeah, the video I watched, the guy was like, you could have easily ran this build on a 650 watt power supply. So, you know.
Yeah, like it was. Yeah, like I would have probably gotten the higher power supply too, but.
But we also have like a shitload of hard drives and stuff like that for something basic.
That's true.
It's kind of overkill.
Yeah, I'm thinking of additional stuff too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
his reasoning was stupid.
yeah, and then so the thing too about like at the end he shows once he for some reason he is able to turn it on and it works, which surprised the fuck out of me. But he was able to turn it on and it works, and he's showing games off his benchmarks.
If you noticed when he turns it on at the end, it's actually like put together well. Like the fans are in there from the radiator. I talked about the missing screw on the block.
It's there.
It's there. Like
somebody probably went behind him and fixed it.
Yeah, it still looks like shit because the cable management's garbage. I'm not saying my cable management's good. My cable management is horrible. But I don't buy cases that I can display my cable management to.
And we're not a channel like The Verge. We don't have 2 million subscribers, so we're not building a computer to show off. You know, like sure,
Yeah.
my case has a open glass on one side, but yeah,
mine does too.
it's gonna look like because we have the same case.
Yeah.
It's gonna look like shit because I didn't do cable management. Again, I'm not The Verge. I'm not trying to show off. For me, this is literally just a personal thing.
But I heard his case actually has like a backside that you can, because you know how ours has, we put ours like that, and most cases have them put the motherboard on the side.
Right.
Yeah, behind his motherboard is actually a big area where you can.
So you could cable manage it.
Yeah, so you can, like we don't have that spot.
Right. So that's another issue with ours too. But anyway, but the point I was getting to was he's showing off gaming benchmarks, and first he shows Arma 3, which is like talks about like frames, like I'm getting like 150 frames or whatever.
It's like a 5-year-old, 10-year-old game. Like what?
I mean, I guess it's kind of intensive. It's sort of like the meme, like can't run Crysis, you know. But obviously that's very old.
But Crysis is different.
Well, yeah, but anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he shows off Arma 3, and it's like, okay, that's cool. You're getting like 150 frames or whatever, like, cool. And then the next game he shows off is League of Legends. Like, that's supposed to be some kind of fancy, you know, benchmark of a game. Like, you know, oh yeah, I can get 120 frames in League of Legends, but
I could get 120 frames.
He said I capped it at 120 because I could probably get 300.
Yeah.
It's like, well, no shit, because that game's not fucking.
You can run that on a potato.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So that was a bad choice of benchmarking too, in my opinion. So that's the last.
Not in your opinion. It is. When you're benchmarking, you're showing how this thing runs at high levels, and then you pick like some fucking stupid game like. It's like running Ninja Turtles or something from the NES. Like running some, like if we like benchmarked with fucking that game that we played the other day, River City Ransom
Underground.
It's some fucking 8-bit game, and they're like, look, I'm getting 1,000 frames. Like, who the fuck gives a shit?
yeah, you can get 1,000 frames if you're running an old ass game that's not very graphic and intensive. But and then, I mean, you get 1,000 frames, but your monitor still only does like what 100, 150 maybe.
Yeah.
So it's irrelevant. But Yeah.
I can go on that for days.
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say, like, guys, just go out of your way, try to find the Verge PC Building guide. I'll link to a video in the description, but feel free to peruse more at
I
your
do
leisure.
want to mention why Crysis is different.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
Crysis is different because Crysis is actually programmed to scale with equipment. So that game is programmed so as whenever a new maybe not ray tracing because it's new technology, but whenever a new resolution comes out, and it can actually
Upscale
everything.
Okay.
So that's why Crysis is different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
That's all the way.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So we're almost done with PC stuff, but there's still one more thing that we wanted to discuss, and that was the PlayStation 5 rumors that have been going around.
It's console too.
It's PC gaming / console. What?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So the rumor is that the PS5 is going to come out fall 2020, and the way people are figuring that out is the pretty much timeline for the Zen2 chips or Ryzen 3, the 3000 series, the ones that we're really excited about, their timeline. So the rumor is that the PlayStation 5 will run off of Zen2 architecture APUs, which are CPUs that have GPUs in them as well. It's similar to the current technology that's in the PS4, just obviously the PS4 one is older. What Sony is doing apparently is they're waiting for Zen2 to come out because that's a big jump, and it actually has a big energy efficiency thing in the same jump. I think it's supposed to be 12 to 25% more efficient than the previous generation, than Zen Plus or the 2000 series. Sony's going to wait for them to run their life cycle out. So they come out, and what people are thinking is April because they follow the timeline of the previous two. The Zen 2 Plus will come out the following April, being the 2020, and when the original Zen 2 is discontinued, Sony will buy them all and then put them in their PS5s and sell them in the fall. Based on the way the previous PlayStations have been built, on AMD architecture like that, it makes perfect sense, and it makes sense from a console standpoint how they try to get the most power for the least amount of dollar. You know, they're in it for budget. They want to get it as cheap as possible, and it makes sense to buy not outdated, because it even though there's going to be a newer one, it will not be outdated, but a discontinued model.
One cycle behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense from a business standpoint. Oh shit. I think it's still running, but just come on, don't be dumb. All right, 3, 2, 1. It makes sense from a business standpoint. I mean, and also, I mean, we were kind of doing a little bit of research before we started recording. Apparently, like 20% of AMD's was it profits or whatever is from the consoles, like the deal with Microsoft and the deal with Sony. So I mean, that's like, it may seem like small change to Intel, but shit, 20% of your revenue. Oh, whatever. It might, yeah, Nvidia, but it might seem like small change to them. But I mean, if it's 20% of your revenue, like, shit, dude, like that's pretty good, I think.
So you heard it, that damn brand, PS5 2020 phone with AMD Zen 2 architecture.
Now, did you say 2024 or 2020
fall?
I know, just the way you said it, it was
2020 fall with Zen 2 AMD architecture.
Cool. Yes. So we'll see if that's the case. If it is, we're gonna come back and reference this video and be like, "We fucking told you."
Fucking fortune balls
and yeah, crystal
balls, fortune balls.
Yeah, fortune. You know, same difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that wraps up the PC gaming mostly version of what we were going to discuss, unless it somehow ties back into it. I wanted to discuss Devil May Cry 5 because they just announced some, I think, is really cool news. Daniel is less than enthused, but basically Capcom released a couple of new trailers at Tokyo Game Show. I think it was yesterday or the day before, and
we should go to TGS.
That'd be dope. One day, squad goals. But the one of the new Devil May Cry 5 trailers. First of all, there was one that was just gameplay. Well, not just gameplay. It was showing off the gameplay, and it also had like the CGI cutscenes or whatever. And the game looks, I think it looks dope as shit.
I think the game looks fun.
You know, I was a big fan of 4, and I also did like the DMC remake, reboot, whatever. Even though it got shit on by a lot of people, I actually did enjoy it. Because I never got into Devil May Cry before 4 because I never owned a PlayStation. Like, I didn't have PlayStation products before then. So when Devil May Cry 4 came out on Xbox 360, I was like, fuck yeah. Like, I played the demo and I thought it was fun as shit. So I bought it and I loved it. So I'm super hyped for Devil May Cry 5. Like, the game looks good. It seems fun. But then they hit me with another fucking trailer that shows for the, you know, deluxe edition of Devil May Cry 5, you're going to be able to get the Mega Buster in a crossover collaboration with Mega Man 11 coming out. So Nero, since he has it's called a Devil Bringer attachment on his arm, he has like different guns and stuff. He's gonna get the fucking Mega Buster from Mega Man and be running around blasting people. So I'm super hyped for that, and that is going to be a day one purchase for me because that just looks cool. But Daniel's on the fence, or maybe he just wants to wait.
Not on the fence. I don't think it fits. It's like, I guess I was just thinking about it right now, and I know they did it with Dead Rising. Like
yeah, the original Dead Rising. Yeah, when you ran over 53,000 whatever zombies, you can get the Mega Buster.
But it fit that game because that game was goofy. It doesn't fit Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry is a little bit more serious. Devil May Cry is a little bit more hardcore. It doesn't fit the mood of Devil May Cry. That's what I have again. That's why I'm like, meh. Like, you know, obviously it's a single player game, so someone else using it's not going to ruin my experience. But I just don't think it's fits.
Well, so I was thinking about this earlier today, actually. Kind of like video game collaborating and crossovers and stuff. Because Capcom has a history of doing this. They're going all the way back to at least Mega Man X, where you could get the Hadouken for Mega Man. And then also Lost Planet 2, you could play as fucking Gears. You could play as Marcus and Dom. Like, I thought that was dope as shit. Like, Lost Planet 2 was actually a really underrated game, in my opinion. Like, I fucking love that game. But the fact that you can play as Gears, which isn't even I mean, it was a Microsoft franchise, but...
I think, wasn't it solely on Microsoft?
Yeah.
I think that's why they did it.
And there might have been was there PlayStation exclusive characters? I don't know, because I didn't play on PlayStation, so I didn't know. But yeah, so there's a history of this. So, you know, while it may not fit, it's not out of the realm of, like, Capcom doing something like this.
Capcom's been doing a lot of crossovers recently. Monster Hunter
and Final Fantasy 14.
Like, crossovers have been really big recently. With Capcom and Square have been doing a shitload of them with a bunch of games. I just think they should be done where they fit.
So, like Monster Hunter and Final Fantasy.
That makes sense. I don't know about the Final Fantasy Tomb Raider, like...
Or, Final Fantasy 15 and Assassin's Creed. Yeah, that's where I was going to get at. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Game crossovers have been around for a while, but I don't know. Again, I'm hyped for it, but, you know, we'll see. Just got me super excited when I saw the trailer. If you haven't seen it, it's on the website, thatdamnbrand.com. Check it out. Also, probably here on YouTube. And I made a link in the description. So, did you want to discuss the meetup too?
Sure, why not?
All right.
We're going to a meetup. All right.
Yeah. All right. Podcast episode over. Let's go home. Tomorrow, depending on when this episode goes up, there's going to be a Twitch San Antonio meetup, and I went to the one in March, and that's actually where I met Melody360, who we did a podcast with a while back. It might be in the description up there.
Probably not.
It might. Anyway, and then I also went to the Houston meetup with Daniel in July, and you know, we've gained a lot of like momentum from these meetups. Like, gotten more followers on Twitch and people going to the website, and so they're good, like networking. You know, meeting other streamers, meeting other gamers.
You go to TwitchCon.
That's the goal.
Oh, you really want to go?
That would be cool. Will's going.
I know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So that would be cool. I mean,
I don't know. I just think it's funny. Yeah, you came all the way over here, and how many followers do you have? 50?
Well, hopefully we'll have more than that, you know, but but the point of it basically is that these meetups are a good way to network, meet fellow like-minded individuals like yourself, and hopefully bring each other up, you know, on the rise to ninjadom.
Oh, I'm not talking about, not poo-pooing that. I'm just thinking, other than TwitchCon, what else would we want to go to? Like,
BlizzCon.
I don't know if I want to go to BlizzCon now.
I want to at least get exclusive swag. I guess I could pay $40 for the virtual ticket and get that Sombra.
Yeah, that kind of turned me
skin.
off. I don't want that. Oh, well, doesn't it say in the thing that you can get it, like, it's like a limited time exclusive for them?
You might be able to buy it later down the line or something, but
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just dumb in my opinion.
Nah.
Yeah.
It's a skin.
I know.
Maybe even play the damn game.
I played occasionally. I don't play with you because you're all hardcore about it. But you know, that's probably about it though. We've been probably about an hour, I think.
I don't know if I'd want to go to TwitchCon because that makes it that we can't go somewhere else.
Why would that? It
Because
coincides with
money.
something else?
Well, money. Like if you have if unlimited resources is different. But then would I rather go to E3 again or maybe like TGS or PAX Prime, which is now PAX West? I think I'd rather go to PAX West than that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, then TwitchCon, yeah.
Yeah.
At least at this point, because we don't have subs, like we're not affiliates.
Well, if we have subs, then we're probably getting paid to go.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, at this point, since we're not affiliates and we don't have subs, we're, you know, it's...
We're just going to be some jackasses there.
Hey,
I'd rather be a
guys.
jackass at PAX
Or
West.
a jackass at E3 who gets kicked out because you don't have the right fucking badge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, anyway, but, yeah, is there anything else you want to specifically talk about? I think we're...
Not really. I think I had a topic, but I forgot, and I probably bored them with my other stuff.
All right, well, like I said, we've probably been running a little long anyway, so we're probably going to go ahead and call it a wrap on this episode. So I've been Matthew.
I've been Daniel.
And we just wanted to say, once again, thank you very much for supporting us. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys in the next video.
Follow us on Twitch.
Yep, that's also on screen at some point. And follow us on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram. We got all that stuff.
I will make one up that you have to follow.
Follow us on Yubba Lubba Dub Dub Pickle Rick.
Pickle Rick.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, laters.
Bye.